Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take some really compelling sources and, well, we boil them down to the core insights for you. Basically get you right up to speed on what counts.
And today it's Victor Hugo, a massive figure. We're diving into his world.
Absolutely. We've got a mix of things here, excerpts from Victor Hugo on things that matter. So poetry, bits from novels, his letters, even notes on his drawings.
Yeah, quite a range. And our goal here is really to explore Hugo's thoughts on three big themes: love and passion, nature, and tyranny and exile.
We want to show you how they connect, maybe some surprising details, but, keep it focused.
Exactly. Not get lost in everything, Hugo, because that's a lot.
Okay, let's jump in with love and passion. And maybe the best place to start is literally his last words, penned just days before he died. Aimer, c'est agir. To love is to act.
That's such a powerful statement to end on. To love is to act. It tells you so much about how he saw love.
Not just a feeling, then.
Not just a feeling at all. For Hugo, it seems love was, well, almost a fundamental principle, a kind of active driving force in the universe.
Like an energy?
Kind of, yeah. We see it in that piece Éclairci, where even the peacefulness of the day is shown as God's love, embracing everything. It's universal.
Okay, so it's this big cosmic thing, but he definitely explores the intense romantic side, too.
Oh, absolutely. Think of Hernani finding happiness in love even when fate is closing in.
Or Didier in Marion Delorme, complete despair without her.
Right. And Marius in Les Miserables with that famous line.
Mourir d'amour, c'est en vivre. To die of love is to live by it. It sounds like a contradiction.
It does, but it's peak romanticism, isn't it? The idea that the sheer intensity of love, even the suffering, is life lived to the fullest. It elevates you.
And this connects to redemption you mentioned.
Definitely. Hugo saw love as redemptive. He even wrote to Juliette Drouet, his longtime mistress, saying their love sort of redeemed their unconventional situation because it felt sacred to him.
And his fictional heroines often find salvation through pure love, like in Marion Delorme or Lucrece Borgia.
Exactly. And it's not just romantic love either. Think about self-sacrifice. Ruy, Jean Valjean, even Juliet in Toilers of the Sea, they find a kind of grace through sacrificing themselves for others.
But it's not all heroic sacrifice. He talks about the frightening quality of passion, the dark side.
Yes, he absolutely does. That duality is key. And the prime example has to be Frollo in Notre Dame de Paris.
Oh, for sure. His passion for Esmeralda is destructive.
It's obsessive.
Totally. He swings between seeing her as divine and demonic. He's tormented, admits he's captivated, but then he denounces her when she won't have him. That scene where he basically says, love me or die, and she just spits back, être toi, prêtre jamais, to be yours, priest. Never. It's chilling.
It really shows passion curdling into something terrible. But then you compare that to his other writings on love.
Right, there's incredible tenderness, too. That early poem from 1823, Hélas, Je t'aime tant qu'à ton nom seul je pleure. Just hearing her name makes him weep. The longing is so raw.
Or the nostalgia in Homme et lettres d'amour, looking back at young love, almost mourning its lost idealism.
In his actual letters to Juliette Drouet, they give us such a direct window.
They really do. That one from 1835 describing being intimate during a storm. It's so vivid, so passionate.
And then the 1842 letter where he talks about wanting their souls to be joined forever in nature. It's incredibly poetic and deeply felt.
It shows the huge range he could capture, from that delicate line, Lorsque ma main frémit si la tienne les fleurs, when my hand trembles if yours touches it.
So subtle.
To playful admiration like in Et la nuit quand elle s'absente, and the night when she is absent.
And that other bit where he's just intensely observing a woman's beauty, almost like she's divine. It feels like love just completely shaped how he saw everything.
Exactly. It fueled his art, his perception. It was central.
Okay, let's shift gears to nature, another huge theme for Hugo. He was clearly deeply connected to it.
Oh, profoundly. He loved walking, watching sunsets, exploring landscapes, especially during his exile on the Channel Islands. You really see this connection deepen.
He loved spring, apparently, and was very detailed in his observations.
Yes, very. But for him, nature wasn't just, pretty scenery. It was vital, a source of inspiration, of solace.
He called it the great lyre, right? And the poet is the divine bow.
La nature est la grande lyre, le poète est l'arche divin.
Exactly. It shows that active relationship he felt. He wasn't just looking at nature, he was interacting with it, being played by it, in a way.
Like when he was on his roof at night, feeling overwhelmed by God.
Accablé de Dieu, yes. Staring at the stars, feeling drawn into the infinite. There's a real sense of the sublime, of awe.
But it wasn't all gentle awe, was it? He saw the power, the danger in nature, too. Definitely. The ocean, for instance. Sometimes it's gentle, like the lion with Daniel in the Bible story he references. Other times it's full of the whirling of human rumor, chaotic and
He
powerful.
personifies it almost.
He really does. And think about his descriptions of storms, all gold, copper, iron clouds. Very dramatic, even destructive.
That poem, Tristes de Limpio, it's about revisiting a place, right? The Bièvre Valley.
Yes, and contemplating time, change, memory, loss, specifically about his relationship with Juliette Drouet. It's considered a masterpiece of French Romantic poetry precisely because it weaves human feelings so deeply into the natural landscape.
Nature reflecting inner turmoil.
Yeah.
Very romantic.
Exactly. And in Oui, je suis le rêveur, yes, I am the dreamer, he talks about this union with nature, how the poet can even converse with souls through it.
That's taking the connection pretty far.
It is. He also explored the, let's say, stranger side of nature, the deep sea and Le Rocher d'Ouve, that description of the reefs, the hidden dangers, the monstrous creatures. It's quite gothic almost.
Wow, yeah. A very different feel from his descriptions of spring.
Completely different. Those passages are bursting with life birds singing, flowers blooming, the sense of energy and, well, reproduction, pure joy.
It's like he embraced all of it. The beauty, the terror, the mystery.
And not just in words. We have to remember his art. Over 3,000 drawings and paintings.
That's incredible. And lots of landscapes.
Loads. Pieces like Marine Terrace, Paysage Oriental. They show his life for the natural world visually. Even more abstract things like La Fer d'Eddystone, the lighthouse, feel rooted in observation.
And he used unusual techniques, right? Coffee, soot.
Yeah, bizarre mixtures, he called them. Anything to capture what he saw in his mind's eye. Some people even see precursors to surrealism in his visual work.
Fascinating. And then there's that line, bursting with energy. Il faut boire et frapper la terre d'un pied libre. One must drink and strike the earth with a free foot.
Such a celebration of spring. Linking that sort of classical, almost pagan joy in nature and sensuality with his own time.
And he even saw nature itself as a creator, didn't he? Like it was writing poetry.
Yes, nature working, dreaming, creating strophes qui sont les chênes stanza that are the oaks. It's this profound, almost mystical view of nature as a fellow artist.
Okay, our final theme, tyranny and exile. This hits close to home for Hugo, obviously.
Extremely close. His opposition to political oppression, particularly Napoleon III, defined a huge chunk of his life and led directly to nearly 2 decades in exile.
He seemed aware of political tension right from the start. That line about his birth year, ce siècle avait 2 ans. This century was 2 years old.
Exactly. Linking himself immediately to a turbulent era. He was a committed Republican, a fighter for freedom of thought, for democracy.
His relationship with Louis Napoleon Bonaparte is quite a story. Started out supportive.
Briefly, yes, but the 1851 coup d'etat turned him into one of Bonaparte's fiercest opponents. He didn't just write against it, he was actively involved in the resistance committee, publishing Au Peuple.
Which led to his exile.
Forced exile, yes. He had to flee, with Juliette Drouet's help. And from exile, he unleashed this incredible literary barrage against the regime.
Histoire d'un crime, Napoléon le Petit.
And especially Châtiment, Punishments. That collection of poems is just scathing satire and righteous anger directed squarely at Bonaparte, who he called Napoléon le Petit, Napoleon the Small.
There's that poem, Le Tidam du mi-janvier 1852. The contrast is stark, isn't it?
Absolutely chilling. The official religious ceremony praising the new regime set against the brutal reality of the coup's violence.
And maybe even more visceral is Souvenir de la Nuit du Caire, Memory of the Night of the 4th.
That one is just devastating. A graphic, heartbreaking account of soldiers killing a 7-year-old boy. It drives home the human cost of tyranny in a way abstract arguments never could.
It makes you understand why his opposition was so visceral.
And interestingly, he came to embrace exile in a way. He writes about it in Puisque le juste est dans l'abîme, since the just man is in the abyss, seeing it as a position of moral strength, a symbol of freedom from tyranny.
He believed right equals force, eventually.
He believed that acting against truth and justice ultimately leads to downfall. That famous line connecting Napoleon I's coup, the 18th Brumaire, to Waterloo, and Napoleon III's coup, the 2nd of December, to the defeat at Sedan. He saw a pattern of hubris and consequence.
And through all this, he maintained his stance against the death penalty. even from exile.
Remarkably consistent. He always argued for clemency, for mercy, contrasting state killing with the potential for rehabilitation.
Like in Claude Gueux, where he argues for education instead of execution.
Exactly. Prevent crime through social means. Don't just punish it brutally. It's a surprisingly modern perspective in some ways.
Even his art commented on power, like that drawing Le Char de la Monarchie.
The Chariot of the Monarchy, yeah. A visual critique of how monarchical systems can become unbalanced and oppressive.
And he saw attacking the free press as fundamentally wrong, too.
Absolutely. In Napoleon Le Petit, he basically equates suppressing the press to theft, to destroying property. He saw it as essential for a healthy society.
It all builds to this image of the poet as a fighter, that line from Stella.
Je suis le caillou d'or et de feu que Dieu jette, comme avec une fronde au front noir de la nuit. I am the stone of gold and fire that God throws, as with a sling at the black brow of night.
Wow. Defiant right to the end.
A powerful image of art and conscience confronting darkness.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen Hugo tackling these immense themes. Love's active power, nature's complex soul, the brutal face of tyranny, and the defiance found even in exile.
And they weren't separate boxes for him, were they? They all flowed into each other, reflecting his life, his times, his, well, incredible passion for engaging with the world.
Which leaves us, and you, with something to think about. How do these big Hugo-esque themes, love, nature, the struggle against oppression, echo today? What do they say to our own challenges, our own passions?
Yeah, what can we maybe take from his sheer commitment, his ability to see both the sublime beauty and the deep injustice around him? It's definitely worth exploring more of Hugo's work to find out.